Continuing our Is It Right For You campaign series, we'll be talking about Throt the Unclean and the new Clan Molder Skaven DLC with the Twisted and the Twilight. Now, again, if this is your first time tuning into one of these videos of this series, this is a spoiler-free, turn one, simple overview and analysis of the campaign. I'll simply be talking about some of the attributes and mechanics of the campaign and then giving you my little summarization at the end about what the campaign is essentially about, like the type of direction, and if it's going to be right for you if you like a certain style of campaign such as X, Y, and Z. And before we get started, as always, we do have my Nexus storefront that is live right now. You'll get 10% off of your purchase of the Twisted and the Twilight, and Nexus and Creative Assembly have a direct partnership, so you get a key directly from them that works within Steam. And it's a great way to support the channel, so if you do decide to do that, thank you very much. But let's get started on our campaign overview of Throt the Unclean, followed by our campaign overview of Drika tomorrow. All right, so we're going to start out in the Vortex campaign, and then we'll end the video quickly talking about the Mortal Empires campaign because there's no mechanics that are going to be different. It's just really going to be coming down to starting location. So with Throt's presence in the Vortex campaign, we're going to scroll out here so you can see where he starts. Really just north of Nagorond, really close to Malekith. Now you still get Tretch Craventail down here. You have the Sisters of Twilight over here. So there is plenty of shenanigans afoot. So the campaign here for Throt the Unclean is very interesting. So we're going to go over his unique mechanics and everything. Let's first bring up his specific, I guess you'd call this faction overview. And we've got three faction effects: Splice, Mutate, Multiply, Destroy, which sounds like a new System of the Down album. Now, this gives us suitable climate frozen, has access to the Clan Molder Flesh Lab, hit points plus 10% for all characters, and immune to mountain attrition, as well as construction cost reduction for breeding stock, pits of the Packmaster, force feeding chambers, and the laboratory buildings. We also get Feast while you can. Public order: as Skaven corruption increases in a province, public order is decreased by a maximum of -5. But will it provide additional uses of the menace below? And while a province is not affected by corruption, public order is increased by 10. So the typical kind of tomfoolery, and this is just showing us where our food level is at. But these are the climates that Throt the Unclean can be present in. Now, you're really not going to deal with much chaotic wasteland or desert, even in the far western portion of the map. That's mainly grasslands and plains. I just checked. But uninhabitable is going to be magical forests, oceans, and temperate islands, because, you know, he is, after all, a Skaven rat. Now, let's also take a look at Throt's abilities himself before we dive into those mechanics, because they're going to be obviously the biggest driving portion of this campaign. So he has the trait Lord of Hellpit, which reduces the upkeep of pretty much all of the major beasties: wolf rats, rat ogres, mutant rat ogres, brood horrors, and Hellpit abomination units. So pretty much anything that says Clan Molder unit, he gets an upkeep reduction on, and I love upkeep reduction almost above anything as far as a bonus goes. Ability, he gets the Beast Pack, which is right here, the ability to summon rat ogres. Also, passive ability, Master Controller. Where's that one? Right here, which is going to give him increased leadership and melee defense and an aura around him. And he gets regeneration. Also, armor for wolf rats, rat ogres, mutant rat ogres, brood horrors, and Hellpit abominations. So, a lot of really awesome under the hood abilities here. He's going to make all of your Clan Molder units really beefy, and that is, if you haven't gotten it yet, that's obviously going to be the name of the game here with this campaign. If you love playing Skaven, big, large, disgusting creatures, Clan Molder has always been the one for you. Now, looking through his skills, his top line over here, he gets Creature Killer as a unique weapon. Now, he gets access to this very quickly at rank 3, but you can see it has plenty of awesome abilities, especially that bonus versus large and immune psychology. Whip of Domination, which is going to increase his campaign movement, melee attack, leadership once more for all of the aforementioned beasties we talked about, and charge bonus for Skaven slave units, which is pretty cool and thematic. Creature Killer didn't give any bonuses to units. Yeah. Gets the Brood Horror at 14, Sneaky, Tricksy, or to the right here, we get Warpstone Weapon. Now, everything else for the most part is the same. Yellow, I'm sorry, this is not yellow, this is blue, red, yellow line, all, nothing different. Now his unique line, he gets remoldered, which is that really awesome heavy heal, the leadership and melee attack bonus with a hit point bonus to himself at 10%, which is very nice. Master Throttler, which is going to give growth juice gained from recycled units plus 10%, which is really, really good. We'll go into that in just a little bit. Armor piercing and bonus versus large. So one thing you should take a look at here is Monster Throttler gives bonus versus large of 10. Creature Killer's passive gives us a bonus versus large of 12. So, and his innate bonus versus large is 25. So just to kind of create a sentiment of how much of a creature killer this guy is going to be, or a large target creature killer. Also, he can use the ability creature killer on himself to give 16 more bonus versus large. It's just disgusting. Now, Specimen Collector is going to help with growth juice gained from battles plus 10%, casualty replenishment rate plus 10%, and income from post-battle loot plus 10%. Ravaging Hunger is going to help with perfect vigor and leadership. Master of the Mutated will increase missile resistance, weapon strength, and melee defense of all the beasts we've been discussing. Then the Unclean one, which is the name I had in high school. You think I'm kidding? I'm absolutely not. Hit points plus 5%, ward save 10%, cooldown reduction on beast pack, and you get an extra charge from 2 up to 3. That is disgusting. Now, we've talked about Nastra and Arahan. Nastra and Arahan are great legendary lords. They're really cool. They're very flavorful. I think their campaign is very fun. I think Throt is disgustingly strong on his own. Just only looking at a character-to-character comparison here. There's so many awesome synergies built into this guy because you're really going to be going down Molder knowledge. So let's kind of look really quick at all this. Speed and charge bonus for Molder knowledge here. Then you're going to get the bonus for missile resistance, weapon strength, and melee defense. You're also going to get this one for leadership. And then you get his innate for the armor. And then you get the upkeep bonus. Nothing else that gives the beast bonuses that I can remember, right? Good? Yes? Yeah, good. 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 Yes, of course not. So you can really see how you can soup up the units of Clan Molder without even going into the Flesh Labs. The Flesh Labs are a huge portion of his campaign. So if you remember our speculation video on this, we discussed the Flesh Labs. We actually kind of said, hey, how fun would it be to have a Flesh Lab very similar to Clan Scryer? And this is it for the most part. It's like they watched that video, then pulled the idea out of my brain. Huge credit to Matt Ross on that one, Overkill. He was the one who came up with the original synthesis of that, and we moved it together, and here is the brainchild of it. So, the Flesh Labs has a number of tiers here, and these tiers require the aforementioned 2 talents to go up. It's essentially like taking a look at a World of Warcraft talent tree, or any RPG talent tree for that matter. You don't just simply choose this one, and then this one unlocks. You have to choose both. So you're pretty much going 2, 1, 2, 1, or unless you want to go in this direction. So pretty much you need everything in the tier prior that is connected to it, not just one or the other. So that is worth noting. What I'm going to do real quick here is just hover over these. If you would like to, you can simply pause the video, go back and look over them. I know a lot of people want to see all these individual characteristics, but I'm just giving them a real quick shot real fast. And it's different. You have the infantry augments, which are, well, for infantry. Then you have monster augments, which are for monsters. Funny how that works. And you can see that these get pretty awesome the higher you go. Now, each one of them requires 25, mutagen to activate. And when you use the 25 mutagen to activate it, it reduces from your pool of 100. Now, you're capped at 100 to start the game. You'll see another tab up there that says Laboratory. That is your third tab that gives you passive bonuses to the Flesh Labs as a whole. Let me just go through these real quick and I'll just keep rambling in the meantime. So the way that this really works is you're going to be doing combat. And as you kill things, you will earn more growth vat juice. Ugh. And as you earn more growth vat juice, you can essentially get more batches of monsters created up to a certain point in which you get different ones. We'll go over those tiers as I finish going through all these little augmentations. Essentially, the goal is you want to be augmenting all of your units at the bottom, and then as you augment them, they will build instabilities. You use those instabilities to then recycle them, growing your growth vat, and then using that to essentially create more monsters down the line. I'm going to quickly go over these last 3 here. I somehow perfectly planned this to just barely be finished by me going over all these. So Taking a look here, you can see that this is our instability chance. This is the chance that a unit will become unstable after becoming augmented. The more augments already applied to a unit, the higher risk of instability. And we'll go through one real quick to show you. But this one is already ready to go. This guy is already good. You can recycle him. I get 50 growth fat juice, but you can see he has got razor claw grafts, and then he has got lobotomy, which gives him a warp lightning rod bound ability, which is really sick. So let's go ahead and go to infantry. Let's click on the storm vermin, and let's just do more testosterone. Let's imbue him with some Russian juice, give him the cancerous carapace, and then just jump up here to soldier serum. So you can see this is going up and up and up, right? Because right now he's stable. His augments are all good. Oh, now he's unstable. So as you go higher and higher and higher up this tree, you run the risk of really destabilizing your unit. So if I hover over this, you can see the augments are giving me magic resistance, unit rank +5, armor 20, passive ability frenzy. Instabilities. This unit has a 50% chance to gain more instabilities with every additional augment applied. Growth juice gained from recycling this unit, though, is increased by 50, and future augmentation cost is reduced by 50%. Then you obviously replenish lower, and you get passive ability instability here, which essentially just degrades your unit over time. So basically the way this works is the more unstable they are, the more they kind of react like a summoned unit. They will slowly degrade over time until they eventually just die. So you have the double-edged sword of climbing this tree, but you then face the fear of growing more instabilities into your unit. And that's when you would recycle them. Yes, you'll get 50 growth juice, which is just a disgusting word, which goes up to here. So here's your growth fat. Now the growth fat grows by a number of means, primarily by recycling and doing battles. You also get some passive gains from, say, your abilities from the laboratory, and also some specific buildings will give you some growth juice. And then every turn that increases. You can see here it says change this turn plus 110. Now there's tiers of this. I think it's 500, 600, 700, 800, then 1000, or I think this actually jumps to 700 next. Yeah, there you go. 650 is the next one. So receive a batch of units with a guaranteed rat ogres, and a mutagen byproduct, you get 105, 110, and you basically, for more growth juice that you use, the better things you are guaranteed to receive from it. Help Hit Abomination Cluster being your final one here. And once you've reached that point, you press this button and you claim your growth fat monsters. It will grant you the amount of mutagen that it says, so 100, 105, 110, 115, and 120. You also get 10 food, which can be increased by, or up to 15, by upgrading the flesh labs. We'll go over there in just a little bit. You see all this stuff in the upper right corner. These are going to be our big things, because the mutagen is our main source of augmenting our guys. It costs 25 on the bottom end, and then the top ones kind of get up to 50. But since we recycled that one, let me go click this guy. Let me see what he says here for this. Yeah, see how this has 12? It's because he's been augmented so many times that future augmentation cost has been reduced by 50%. So this is a really cool and awesome and fun way to make your units dynamic that is a little bit more free-flowing than the Scryer lab. The Scryer lab is kind of, okay, you're augmenting specifically those types of units permanently. This way you can decide, hey, I want this specific unit to react like this, and I want this version of that unit to react like this. A good example would be that's kind of like a bunch of pronouns there. I want to go up this portion for this clan rat. You know, this one, I want to make him a tank. I want to go melee attack. I want to give him armor. I want to make him stock. Like you use this to kind of custom build how they are. It kind of is reminiscent of the greenskin scrap mechanic in the sense that you get to kind of choose their own adventure, which I'm all about. I think that's a really cool way to do the flesh labs rather than it kind of being locked in that you're increasing all clan rats to be a certain set way. So that's just my opinion on that. Let's click laboratory here and you can see all these additional benefits here. You can do your mutagen buyback, your unclean energy bar, which, I mean, probably a quest bar because those things really have a bad reaction with my stomach. Harvest organs, genetic filtering, clone warfare, sample collectors, abnormal growth, cultivation, biorecycle chamber, deep freezer, which is huge because it doubles your flesh lab mutagen capacity from 100 to 200. You won't be able to get the bonuses of stuff like this that says 105 because you're capped at 100 to start out with. and then enlarged growth fat, mutagen distillation, and then steroid infusions. See how these will directly affect your units, and some just passively like this. Ward save 10% for units with 4+ augments. You're not even adding anything to the unit. You just get above 4 and it automatically gets an additional benefit. So the Flesh Labs are a really, really fun mechanic for Throt the Unclean, but there is another big mechanic, and actually the biggest driving portion of this campaign is your motivation. Now, when we took a look at Grom the Paunch and Eltharion, their mechanics of being at each other's throat revolved around one another. Well, for Throt the Unclean, he is hellbent on essentially using Ariel or consuming Ariel in some way, shape, or form to make his monsters better. So, from the start, you're at a 50 turn limit. So if I were to do nothing and press that end turn time button 50 times, then the final battle for the campaign triggers, and that's it. That's the end of the campaign. So you can see this right here. Destroy Ariel's waystones by capturing or raising the specified settlements. Destroying 3 waystones will unlock the final battle. Then when I hover over this, it tells me that this is when she completes her ritual, and when she does, the final battle will trigger. And then I have these 6 little tabs on the left and right sides of this. Good Lord, let me just hover over one, please. And there is a mission that corresponds to it. Now, this is, again, very similar to what we got with Eltharion and Grom the Paunch. Now, I need to essentially go to a specific location. Let's just click the Temple of Cain. And I need to raise or conquer it. And when I do, I get a nice chunk of change, and then I get the Temple of Cain Waystone destroyed. It adds 10 turns until the ritual is completed. Every single one of these will add 10 turns. And it debuffs the Wood Elves in the final battle. Disable Wood Elves' final battle contact effect on War Dancers and Blade Singers, Madness of Cain. Removes Ariel's final battle bonus of a 5% ward save. So as you move through each one of these, which are across the map, in fact, just scrolling out, you'll be able to see them. They'll all start pulsing, which is it's pretty awesome here. This one's not going. Oh, there we go. We get Val's Anvil, which gives us this one. We get the next one here, which that is not the one I want to go to. Still not the one I want to go to, but this one is the Moon Shard, which is going to give us basically reducing the range damage and further reducing that ward save, but again, adding those 10 turns. Top one up here to the Great Arena, which is just south of where you start, probably the first one you will destroy. Removes armor, and again, that ward save and the 10 turns. Larkarand. Disable Wood Elf's final battle army ability transformation of Kadon, which is quite nice. And then lastly, we have God Cleric Spire. And then there you go. Disable Wood Elf's final battle ability, Kane's Lash, Sky Cauldron, and Soul Rain. And one more time. So basically, you are taking a look at a campaign that at max lasts 110 turns. So even if you were to say continuously continuously doing all these missions, and you got to the point where you could manually trigger this because you've done 3 of the missions, you could still just kind of keep going until you get to turn 110. But at turn 110, that final battle is going to start. Losing the final battle will lose you the campaign. So what I really like about this campaign is that it is very straightforward. You are moving in a southward fashion. You are destroying these waystones. You have a very clear and set goal for yourself. It's very similar to the Vampire Coast campaign in that it's a somewhat short campaign. You're going to attack it pretty quickly, and the objectives are going to come to you in the Vampire Coast instance. In this one, you're going to them. But you really get to choose when you want that end time to kind of kick off, right? Just like you did for Eltharion and Grom. What I do really also enjoy about this is the level of customization you get with the faction-heavy mechanic in the Flesh Labs. I think it's really fun, and it's a really cool way to just kind of specialize in one specific unit or monster that you really want to beef up and get disgusting. So really what this comes down to, is this the right campaign for you? Well, if you're looking for a short-term Skaven campaign, when I would argue that almost all of the other Skaven campaigns are a little bit on the longer side. They're usually towards the, I don't know, I would say like 150, 100 or 200 turn range, give or take, depending on which one you're looking at, especially if you're looking at Skrulk. Those ones are really cumbersome when you're using just the typical Vortex campaign mechanic. It really bogs down. So In this one, you're getting a nice 110 turn max campaign. You get access to tons of beasts that you can really customize and go crazy with. So if that's what you're looking for in a campaign, Throt the Unclean is going to be for you. If you want a long form campaign where you're using a lot of spell casting, or you're using a lot of the plague creatures or a lot of the assassins, Throt is just not going to be your speed. While you can still give bonuses and boost them through the flesh labs, I just think you're going to have more fun with all the passive bonuses that Throt gives to all of the Clan Molder beasts. So let's quickly jump over to Mortal Empires just to show you that on the map before we close our video out. Okay, so Mortal Empires is a little bit of a different speed here for Throt the Unclean. He loses his aerials mechanic, but of course retains his flesh labs, and he's moved to an entirely different portion on the map, right? He's over here far to the east in Hell Pit Troll Country time. So real quick, we'll click on Hell Pit. I'm going to go to the building browser, and we will real fast just look. Oh, by the way, the exotic animal tamer will help you with your growth juice. At the top end, it gives you 10. But let's really quick look at this landmark of lower levels of Hell Pit. Here it is: growth juice bonuses, upkeep, recruitment cost, recruitment rank, and Skaven corruption. Then this increasing even further with more recruitment rank, more upkeep reduction, growth juice, so on and so forth. Same thing here with the Hell Pit Nest Warren, so on and so forth. We'll go up this very fast to show this off. And then here at the very top end. So that is the Hell Pit combination of provincial capital and landmark. But you'll notice too that the objectives for you have your chapter objectives that you'll go through. They really don't focus around aerial like the Vortex campaign does. So what I would say though, for the Mortal Empires, if you want to play a Skaven presence in the Empire, this is definitely one of the only campaigns for you. You can go a little bit further east now and kind of get lost around these lands a little bit more. But for the most part, you're going to be up against Kislev, which is actually a very fun and cool, interesting way to play the game. Because usually if you're playing as Chaos, you're starting around here. If you're playing as Norskins, you're over here or over here. So to just kind of be able to jump into both the Ice Dwarves and Norska is a pretty cool and fun way to start the game, especially for Skaven who have never been able to start in this area before. So Throt the Unclean brings a lot of different things to the table, but I think mainly what he focuses on is obviously his Clan Molder units, in that you're going to have tons of beasts to curate and make even more foul, and I think this is going to be a campaign for you if you really want to take advantage of those big disgusting beasts, and you like playing a Vortex campaign with a very set timer. The Mortal Empires one, I would say, is still a little bit more of a build your own adventure, make a Skaven empire in the north, which is really cool, but it is still a different speed because you are no longer subject to the timer that you had in Vortex campaign. But guys, thank you so much for watching here today. If you do have any questions, the one thing I did forget to mention is about Gorich. You do get Gorich as a hero. I don't want to spoil how you do though, so I'll let you guys discover that on your own. I said this is a spoiler-free video. There it is. Just spoiler free. Gorich is there, but I'm not going to tell you how to get him. But if you have any other questions about this campaign or anything else you wanted me to show off that I maybe didn't, go ahead and let me know in the comment section below. I will try and get a picture out to you on Imager as soon as I can. But as always, thank you so much for watching here today. Have a good one and take care.